hey, let me make this very clear, okay? I I wanted to say clearly is that now tomorrow is Friday. Happy Friday. So what? But I might go to MegaCon, number one. Or maybe I will tomorrow. Why not? Dead open. Why not? I'm gonna say this as your boy El Moreta. We are going to now watch a video. Now we're here going to be watching Monty Sensei's video that's just got uploaded 7 hours ago. We're gonna, and this is regards to the news that has been going on quite lately about certain things that needs to be said about. And I say said about on what the fact that you know uh, fan service. Now, what's the necessity or speech about fan service? Well, you know, when I when I was a kid, I was kind of aware of fan service in anime, or not aware of it because I was so fascinated, right, by the explosions. However, the fan service that is shown on Adult Swim, were showing off in anime. It gave me awaken another thing on me, but it didn't really kind of like get me into this abysmal state of things. Not until I was introduced to uh, Death Note when they had fan service. Kill la Kill had fan service, but until I reached to the other pinnacle of things, that would be High School DxD. You know, that's etchy fan service and all that kind of stuff. And I think what's going on with Monty Sensei, especially with this, is that there was a topic going around, especially on Twitter, regarding to a post in Twitter about a fan art of Ryuko Matoi from Kill la Kill. And it had caused, a stupid drama and all that bullshit because that relates to fan service and Rule 34 and all that type of shit. Like some of these that is some things that's been said by tourists, basically. I think Monty Sensei says it better. Says it way better. We're about to watch Monte Sensei right now. We're about to see his latest video, which is yes, Kill la Kill embraces fan service, like it or not. Let's get to it.
Whether for better or worse, that's not the point of this video. Anime at this point has become undeniable, reaching levels of popularity it's never seen in previous decades. Whether for better or worse, that's not the point of this video, it's just a fact regardless. So undeniable that even aspects people find problematic about it, which easily separates it from other forms of entertainment across the world, people still choose to watch. And one thing that is so triggering, frowned upon, and hated, causing people to go on a bloodlust rage against any fan who dares to admire it, is fan service. As popularity in anime grows, so does the outrage and upset with new viewers grow as well, who refuse to acknowledge that fan service is a part of anime, with certain titles having more or less of it. So much that it made me ask myself, why do they watch then? You know, you could just turn it off and put something else on. It's like somebody playing Mortal Kombat but can't stand the blood and gore.
Reptile wins.
Or making demands for it to be stripped away. Something
like that. Wait.
The activist minded types love to do: invade, infiltrate, and make change, aka destroy. Then I noticed something else. When they fail to make this change or destroy to make a medium or classic piece of property suit their belief system, which is founded on political correctness, they then must hijack, claim, and reframe the perception of how this property or medium is perceived. See, something these types suck at is creating something original that is founded on how they want entertainment to be. For example, Starfleet Academy. They can't stand the fact that what they create is actually extremely unpopular. People aren't checking for it and in fact can't stand. It's direct feedback that's too loud for them to handle.
They can't handle it. No, you're right. They can't handle it. They can't handle a single thing about it. Why? Because one is that the fan service is because they were not accustomed to that kind of content. No, it's that, how to say this? It's that since they're so fixated and they just stumbled upon it because of the internet, and they stumbled upon it thanks to COVID. That's another thing. The rise of COVID. Before that, you already know the whole topic of, the whole trope of things, right? You already know the whole trope. the whole history of how when anime in America was. You were looked down upon. You were seen as weird. You were bullied. You were played at. You were mocked out at a young age just because you watched Dragon Ball or Sailor Moon because that is considered corny or it's considered sexual because it was linked to that. And and there are times where like yeah, part of that is kind of true. However, not all. Anime is an entire medium. That's what many people forget. What happened was that I think from there was an interview from uh, Mitch McDonald, something like that. Donald Mitchell, I think that's his name. He was the one that started off, I think in the 1990s, creating like selling and marketing anime from Japan and putting it in English dub to the American market. And and when he first put out, I think one of the cyberpunk anime, not Gunsmith Cats. No, one anime that was very cyberpunk, right? That aside from, you know, so aside from Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z and Mega Man and Speed Racer and all that good stuff that was already well known to kids. We're talking about like genuine, more out of the mainstream, more underground kind of animes that had a sort of strip tease shot, two girls dancing very gladly sexually and trying to strip off like strippers and when he said that when they first put out that one episode, a few people were outraged, were screaming and all that kind of shit because they were seeing something so vile. While hypocritically, we are giving off the same thing like as he's saying, like Mortal Kombat. When Mortal Kombat came up, there was such violence, gore, people getting their heads ripped off, all that kind of good shit, all that kind of shit. The most goriest shit. We were killing children in live television, fictionally. We were chopping the children's head off, punching them. People were getting, all that kind of violence. But when you have to show a little bit of titty in animation, people start freaking their shit out. Exactly, it's the hypocrisy to that because we're so fixated to violence and now, but we would get so timid and frightened over something that apparently that kids will get affected by it. But while there's an actual rating for that, but no one knows the hypocrisy because we're so succumbed to American stuff, American standards. American standards is faded, it's rotten. It's hypocrisy. It's the Western world does that. The Western world does that. I remember. If I've not forgotten that, I haven't realized it then in Cartoon Network with Total Drama Island. There in Canada, there was a character called Heather on Total Drama Island that she was on a scene where like she was trying to catch something. She was trying to do like a little adventure shit with another character. A tree branch came in and then things happened and they censored that scene. This was on a kids channel. It was on a kids channel. In Canada, they actually showed the titties. They actually showed the titties in Canadian Cartoon Network. Yes, they did. So I can't show. So in America, it gets censored. But hang on, you're gonna show a guy, a character dying, but you're not gonna show that much sexuality although in animation, but in live action they're doing the opposite. There's a sense of fan service in um it's not even fan service at all. It's just it's just straight to the point, like porn or sex right there and go. Sex and go, sex and go. That all that's good stuff. Freaking Twilight of the Gods was that same thing, right? And then there's those kinds of shots where they sure show in like in 90s shows or and still in live action shows where they were like actors who were of age but playing as high schoolers who are apparently 17, 16, doing it doing it with a teacher who is would be obviously in their early 30s, but no one said a thing because we're so fixated on it. It's those kind of things. And then came Puritans, and also the Puritans as well, who are trying to kill the fun. And that's what he was talking about, Monte Sensei himself.
So now they have to forcefully convince themselves that no, what they want is actually popular and the public does want it. So they point to a popular show, game, whatever it is, and inject the narrative that somehow this property actually does advocate for what they want. We, the fans, just don't realize it. And one tactic these types love to use to do this is media literacy. And one popular anime that is always at the target of this is Kill la Kill. For example, the anime itself is a satire making fun of the people who view the girls sexually. Do I think it could have been handled better? Of course, but I would say it also came out in 2013 and is somewhat a product of its time. Now, I'll get to the satire part soon, which is complete BS, but first, this tweet is a good response to all those trying to rewrite history. Lockdown weebs pretending like they never called Kill la Kill Gunnar Pedal Slot. Not too long ago might be the biggest switch up of the century. If Kill la Kill came out today, you pearl clutching parasites would have gone into cardiac arrest over it.
Thank you!
Then when it comes to someone's fan art of Ryuko, which is sick, I'll leave a link to his shop in the description if you're interested, we have those trying to moral grandstand and shame the fan service fans have appreciated on top of Ryuko being a badass character. You can tell exactly what kind of artist watched Kill la Kill and truly loved it, and which artist just gooned to the Rule 34 by whether they draw Ryuko with an ass or if they draw her with aura.
Nice ass.
And I'm so glad that there are responses that just tear away at this fun police mentality. If you watch the show, you'll come out knowing she has aura and a fat ass.
Damn straight.
You can tell who genuinely enjoyed and loved Kill la Kill and who didn't by whether they bitch and moan about fan service. No need to be saying all that with the perfect meme below. Then we have this article from an activist journalist. 12 years later, this 2013 action series female protagonist made it the best shonen anime ever. Now, something I want to address is the satire part, that so many have convinced themselves to view Kill la Kill through, something this journalist does often throughout this article. Very few fans credit Kill la Kill's shonen approach as the best the genre has ever seen, even including the fact that it elegantly deconstructs shonen tropes with the biting power of satire. While Kill la Kill's decision to center the transformation sequences might read as either shonen fan service or shoujo self-image issues, their exaggerated presentations are undeniably a satire of the same. Everything seamlessly mixes together in the Kill la Kill cocktail, offering the anime medium a masterpiece of both pure storytelling and witty satire. Now, something Kill la Kill does well is mix in many references from different genres within its anime. A major one is mecha, with many outfits resembling designs of this subgenre completely. And another is the magical girl genre with the many transformations it has. And you can tell a lot about the person viewing this on how they interpret Kill la Kill, but let's stick with this journalist. In fact, the magical girl genre has the biggest role to play in the anime's transformation scenes. Each transformation is erotically charged, parodying the genre's attempts to balance empowerment and objectification. And still, the trope works perfectly as Kill la Kill reclaims all that's negative about it by the simple use of hyperbole. Kill la Kill takes the cliches of Sailor Moon and rewrites it as feminist punk, a brazen reclamation of the female body that fights and bleeds as much as any worthy warrior. And what these idiots haven't realized is that there's a difference between satire and paying homage. Satire is basically criticism delivered through comedy, similar to what Family Guy or South Park does. They take a topic, make a story around it, and use humor to highlight the stupidity of said topic. South Park did this with Scientology, or the Rainforest episode making a mockery of extreme environmentalist activists.
Oh, shit, that's this bullcrap. I am not following this stupid hippie around anymore.
Let's be a bit more open-minded. They are fighting the fascist policies of their fascist government.
You white Americans make me sick. You waste food, oil, and everything else because you're so rich, and then you tell the rest of the world to save the rainforest because you like its pretty flowers.
Or how
Exactly. I love that. I love that part. That part had me wondering too. That there's these that there are people that will go to who are talking about saving the rainforest, right? Saving the environment because climate change is real. Right? Climate change is a real factor. But what they do, but people like that, right? People like that, for example, what they do, right? These kinds of people who say that, right? They would go to they would have the audacity to go to France and in an art museum and completely throw eggs at the actual painting of the Mona Lisa. Or they would throw replicas at it, actually, my bad. They would throw paintings and copies, but from like couple of years after the first ever Mona Lisa painting, which is very, very ancient. They would throw stuff at them. They would throw artworks and all that kind of good stuff. They would basically completely like demolish anything in the name of saving the environment. And we've seen that many times to time. It's kind of hypocrisy. And there's even there's a lot of videos going about where some of these feminists who are going to Palestine, going to Iran, who are trying to, because they oppose what Trump is doing. Yes, Trump is a shell of himself. Trump is a tyrant at some points. He's a colonizer at some point. Come in. Well, he liberated Venezuela from their dictatorship. Their hope they liberated Cuba. But time is coming on, and people are wondering, where he is, and not just that. Both he's the reason why he's going after Iran. Yes, it is a terrible place. It is a authoritarianly Shia, like freaking Sharia law country over there. But he's not freeing in the sake of America. He's freeing in the sake of Israel. That's politics. But what I'm saying, what he said right there when it comes to fan service, right, and the people there freaking out about fan service, because they said it clearly in the show, right? It said it by there. Look, like Kill Kill takes cliches of Sailor Moon and rewrites it as feminist punk, a bracing reclamation of the female body that fights and bleeds as any worthy warrior. Furthermore, right? It's there's this fine line. He said there is the fine line between the satire and I guess the fancy or the representation or the symbolism of that. Because he says satire is to make fun of a topic. Kill a Kill, it by all means necessary is not a satire. Is an original anime that may have some sort of like outrageous kind of sense because it doesn't make sense. Kill a Kill never made sense. Kill a Kill never made sense. What it made sense was her apparently, Ryuko was about to get revenge, killing somebody, but he didn't. It was funny. It's funny. He didn't, and all of that. It's fan service. It was like the shots, the animations was there, was literally a necessity of that. And they said it in the, I think right here in the quotes right here, when with this guy Void Less Tears. He said lockdown weeds pretending like they never called Kill a Kill or Coon or Peter Slop not too long ago. And if Kill a Kill came out in the year 2021, bro, you guys, 2100% of you pearl clutching parasites would have gone into a cardiac arrest. Hell yeah, you would gone. Yeah, I remember seeing Kill a Kill. I think back in 2014. Yeah, that's when it was first debuted on Adult Swim. That's when I first saw Kill a Kill. Then I rewatched it again back in 2018. Didn't bat an eye. Although I was acting up because of the design of the characters of Ryuko, on her battle suit, everyone else. It was so outrageous. People like the more power you got, the more skin you show, that kind of stuff, right? It's off. The fan service was off the bat, was off the hook, and no one cared, and no one had batted an eye. No one batted an eye. Many anime fans knows that it was revolutionary. Had the best animations. And it was in the best original written anime series, and it did not come from manga. It did not come from a light novel. It did not come from it didn't come. It was an original anime by Studio Trigger that gave it the legacy of Studio Trigger. And what did it give that Studio Trigger? Kill a Kill. What would now both Kill a Kill, right? Kill a Kill and Gurren Lagann. What did they have in common? Big robot fights and action scenes. But what they also had? What helped them rise up to that stuff in the name of fighting a shonen? Right? Mostly fan service. fan service that is even included in One Piece for you tourists. Fan service that included in the first Dragon Ball. None of you have seen the first Dragon Ball. None of you seen the first Dragon Ball. It was ecchi. Fan service. Are you guys ready? On Naruto, on the first Naruto. There was certain fan service in the first Naruto, right? You guys, none of us batted an eye, and you guys have not yet seen Naruto. And Cartoon Network and Adult Swim, both broadcasted Naruto at the time. However, in Cartoon Network, which we all grew up watching, in Cartoon Network, it was censored because of the fan service. They're trying to censor. However, if you go to Adult Swim again, watching Naruto, you'll be thinking, right? That's the uncensored part. That would caught me off guard. Like, oh, I wonder why. Oh, I didn't know that was like that. It was like that, right? And I didn't know it was continuing that way. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh shit. I'm seeing, the sexy fan service, harem jutsu. No one said shit. No one said shit. Bleach Code Geass had fan service. And Chainsaw Man. But when the moment, that shit comes out, you guys go crazy. These tourists and weebs, these fake weebs are LARPing out that way. And not to mention the fact that and yeah, like that, not to mention that. And it's just funny. It's funny.
Look, I'm all for equality, but if you ask me, feminism is about choice. I choose to be a wife and mother.
Holy crap, this is hot.
And by the author's own words of Kill la Kill, fan service is the last thing to be criticized but to be defended. And if you read this article, he hints at being concerned with the new mindset regarding fan service and the stigma surrounding it, saying we need more of it. There is a way of thinking that we should dare to take on the stigma and transmit harmful things. This is what we need to do for the sake of humanity's immunity. We will never be understood, but we will die with a stigma for the sake of humanity. There is a way to do it with that kind of feeling. Now, of course, as you read this, he's joking around, and you can tell this guy has a huge sense of humor, which is reflected in Kill la Kill. But the sentiment is he highly favors fan service and that the medium should embrace it more to combat people's view of it like it's taboo or something, far from criticizing it. When paying homage to stories like Sailor Moon, he goes above and beyond to enhance the fan service delivered in those transformation scenes. That's somebody who's proud of fan service, not ashamed of it. He's not parodying like this journalist suggests. That's something that One Punch Man sort of did with that naked inmate guy. But again, since fan service is something these types hate, due to Kill la Kill being such a great anime, they must reframe it to justify their reasons for loving it, even when it goes against their politically correct held beliefs. Another thing I noticed from this journalist is suggesting that Mako and Ryuko secretly have a romantic relationship. The focus on female friendships and the stylized emphasis on appearance paint the series in a specific light. Ryuko's borderline romantic relationship with Mako is yet another shoujo cliche, despite the many times their friendship is referred to as a friendship.
勝負に負けたかもしれませんが、友情で勝ってます。友情で勝つということは人生で勝つということです。親友のハグなのに。親友って。せっかく隣になったんだから仲良くしようよ。私は今まで頭の中にしか友達がいなかった。でもリュウコちゃんに会って本当の友達ができた。
Okay, personally, this part, I'm gonna be real with you on that one. There was a part of me, I would say part of me on this behalf, I'll probably disagree a bit on Monte Sensei on this one, but this is just my opinion. I personally think that shit with when every time when Mako talks about her best friend, Ryuko as her best friend, I was secretly thinking the same way. I'm thinking, no, she is in love with her, there was because in the scene, I think in the last final battle scenes of Kill la Kill, they even said, please go on a date with me, and she said, all right, fine, I'll go on a date with you, even though she is completely oblivious. Ryuko as a character was never made for that. They were not made for that. It was just a friendship thing and all that good stuff, right? But there inside me personally, I would say, I think to all of us, I think, Monte said say himself will probably secretly, on his flip side, think that, yeah, this was a sort of more like a subliminal Yuri. It was a Yuri subplot to it, even though it wasn't really at all. It was the fan service. It was the subplot of it. It somewhat to me feels like, yeah, no, this is a Yuri couple, even though they were not completely blunt with it and they were just satiring it in a way. That part I was gonna say, I'm gonna be honest with that, but in reality, these were just friends in the end.
優子ちゃんとずっとずっと友達だという気持ちですだからついてゆくのです
Turns out the government tracks a lot of data. Just the facts from USA Facts.
I could keep going, but you get my point. This is something that has plagued not just anime, but fandoms of all kinds. When journalists, tourists, and activist-minded normie types invade, any friendship is automatically seen as gay, queer. There's no way two characters of the same sex can be so cool with each other. And this is something that Kei Udana is slowly learning, the Gachi Akira author, more and more as she further interacts with the deranged, non-fan part of her fan base. Now, there is a scene that this journalist refers to where Mako quickly kisses Ryuko, but it's meant to be shocking and comedic, saying after their final battle she wants to go on a date, which just means a girl's outing to celebrate them saving the world, which it is as Sasaki joins in too on their shopping spree and outing. It's just how girls communicate differently than guys. It's like when girls refer to friends who are girls as girlfriends, while straight guys wouldn't refer to their friends as boyfriends. And the comedic kiss between guys is something that's been done before, like in Rush Hour where Chris Tucker saves Jackie.
Man, what the hell you doing?
Jackie Chan kisses Chris, showing immense gratitude for saving his life.
I just being polite.
Well, next time be polite to my nuts.
Then afterwards, from saving the day, they both go on a vacation to celebrate.
Oh my goodness. This place is off the hook.
Doesn't mean they're queer or have a secret romantic relationship. They're just pals and friends who enjoy each other's company. Then of course you had the forced feminist lens of viewing this as a takedown of patriarchal themes and toxic masculinity. Kill la Kill features a female protagonist arguably defying the most important aspect of the shonen genre by refusing a male character to take the lead. And they say refusing like it's something to be fought against.
That shit, that kind of shit is what's destroyed the Me Too movement. That kind of verse right there, kind of, like hearing that completely goes 180 on what the truth of what the story of Kill la Kill was. It was never a shonen. It was never a symbolism of bad bitch powers and bad bitch main character vibes. It was never that. It was because there's many badass like anime girls, female anime characters who are just ruthless, who will fight to the dearest end for the boy they loved. And there are animes like that. There's one anime from the 2000s. I forgot what it was, but that anime was about a boy for I think no, that was that I know Future Diary. That it was basically a pink anime girl who was just completely ruthless. Who she will kill anybody who dares lay a hand on her boyfriend, on her love, who was a guy. That part. And on top of that, the use of shonen. Shonen, yes. Shonen is battle manga and battle anime, which is probably the most overplayed, especially with Gaichakuta or Gaichakta, basically pronounced Gaichakta in Japanese, with Kei Arana, right? According to that, putting on these fan services, like the shippings of the characters. There's nothing wrong with shipping, but when you go so far up the ass on shipping and claiming that the author is a non-binary queer girl, I mean that part is like at this point on, bro, like you smoking something, and you probably need to get your head checked in. You need to get your head checked in because you tweaking up in that bitch. Honestly. And not to mention, it's kind of like that. It's such a misinformation about anime. Yes, I will be straight with you. I too have misinformed about anime as well. Aside from the fan service, maybe because I watch too much hentai, but even so, Like they're totally different things. Ecchi is a totally different thing. They're anime is a medium, is an animation medium that has a diversity of many different topics and genres. Many different topics and genres. You get to choose what kind of genre you put yourself into. All right? Whether it's shonen, whether it's ecchi, whether it's supernatural, drama, horror, romance, sci-fi, isekai, ongoing slop, cyberpunk, a blend of both, mystery, and all that kind of good stuff. Same thing with the Western world. The Western world does the same thing. Again, the tourists still don't get it. I'm glad that even if I haven't been watching anime in the latest, like throughout the last 3 years of the 2010s, I was still very aware of the context of things. I was aware that that there are many animes out there that don't have fan service, or they're those who have fan service but not as frequently, especially with Fire Force. Now, Fire Force is another great example because Fire Force is one of the latest episode with Tamaki, who is used as a sort of fan service comedy gag, right? And there's always a punchline. There are going to be, all the animated shots and like what he's talking about in Kill la Kill, like with Mako kissing Ryuko, it's like a comedy shot, like a ha ha he kind of thing, right? I laughed at that because it was funny. It was outrageous. It's like it's just completely out of context. There's no girls would think that way. No girls would think that way, right? And especially with Tamaki in Fire Force. And this is a shonen anime that tourists were completely fucking vomiting and were protesting. They were going Me Too. They were going BLM. They were going, Free Palestine on that bullshit. Free Palestine, BLM, and Ku Klux Klan, Puritan in the name of the Lord. In the name of the Lord. Yeah, in the name of the Lord kind of shit. Both sides, right? Hating on fans on that episode when she just completely strips off, and then the author the creator of Fire Force had to kind of disguise himself as a little kid talking to his mother, who is completely going Karen over this panty and stripping of Tamaki in the name of fan service, and he has to shut them down. So basically, he used that mother as the Karen, as the tourists, as the COVID tourists, and the Puritans, and of course the LGBT wokes who despise the use of fan service and the context of anime and its and its material because it came from another country, right? And from that point on, he shut them off. He shut them down by making the character disappear. And that explains, and all on Twitter going ape shit on that. It's funny because in the West, they would not say the same thing in the West, especially with the furries, with like furry shows like Has Been Hotel, Hell of a Boss. They have so much sex jokes and even literally animating sex, basically. And then there was so much violence there, and so much like these raunchy and completely just like unblended, unorganized jokes that really didn't that is just sounds like so fucking ghetto in a way, right? And no one batted an eye on that. No one batted an eye on that, especially And I've probably brought this once before earlier. The fact that K-pop Demon Hunters was when it was on the Oscars, K-pop Demon Hunters was granted, right? Later, people for like, I like this. That K-pop Demon Hunters was nominated for an Oscar, right? And they cut them off from the get-go because they loved the song. They loved the song, now like Golden. But they would cut off the speech of it. They didn't care. They didn't care about it. And later thing you never think of, those people who probably watched K-pop Demon Hunters and completely going hell's bells, fucking like anti-Gunner, fucking like, Hamas, fucking Nick Fuentes ass, fucking tripping up on that bullshit, trying to catch wreck on that book, on that shit, right? They would watch this. There's a scene in K-pop Demon Hunters of one of the Saja boys with his shirt just exploding and showing abs, right? Showing abs. And then freaking I think Remy, one of the characters, Remy, she was just like going bonkers seeing fucking chest and abs just showing. And it was a kids movie. And it was a kids movie. And nobody batted an eye. And there was even a video on Twitter of 12-year-old girls, 10 to 12-year-old to even 13-year-old girls screaming, going nuts over one of the Saja boys. Screaming, going nuts over one of the Saja boys. And they were cherishing it. The parents were cherishing, like, what's going on? These girls are going crazy. My daughters are going crazy and shit, right? But the moment they go to anime, then, oh no, that's a fucking red line. Hell no, hell no, hell no. No, 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 no. I want morality. I want my representation. I want this kind of bullshit. Make up your fucking own, dog. You got you got hotties. You got fucking Megan Thee Stallion. Go make up your own. Go make up your own.
But continuing. Just as Ryuko discarded the shackles of pride and vengeance to seek a better life, symbolically and literally sacrificing her toxic masculinity for a tender version. The gender imbalance in Kill la Kill's woman translated into a better equilibrium, one that sees characters like Dandadan's Momo or Chainsaw Man's Power in the same heroic light as their male counterparts. Which I made a video addressing these types of how they approach anime like activist academics. They don't approach it as fans. They must find a way to see it through a cause, fight the power, brain dead NPC activist lens. And as a reflection of countless real world men right now, Ryuko's self-imposed emotional isolation speaks volumes. Gone are the days of stolid anime protagonists who struggle to express themselves. Because of course, to these types, stoicism or being stolid is what they call toxic masculinity, a made-up activist term. In their minds, if men aren't acting in a feminized manner, treating every conversation like a therapy session, trauma dumping, always in their feels, then there must be something wrong with them. Characters like Spike Spiegel, Guts, Hey, or BK201, hell, even Rama, despite being a comedy, are all problematic. Matter of fact, forget old classic characters. Ones from this season including Orhun from Jack of All Trades, Noah from Noble Reincarnation, or Xylo from The Sentence to Be a Hero. Very stern characters, not overly expressive, only concerned with the task at hand. To them, these are all toxic to the journalist's eyes. They need to act like females, that's what will make them special. And what's funny is that when Ryuko sorta adopts these masculine traits, this journalist praises it but frowns upon it with male characters, a common trait amongst these types. Kill la Kill is a fun anime. Fascinating animation, which Studio Trigger is known for. The animation is almost a character or personality itself. It takes a life of its own with exaggerated features and movements, adding to the comedy and sense of humor that is felt through the characters, dialogue, and dare I say, fan service. Great fights in action, an overall theme of fighting against authoritarianism, referencing things like George Orwell's 1984. Slavery is freedom, war is peace, ignorance is strength, but Kill la Kill does it in its own way. But leave it up to the fun police or academics to be the buzzkill, trying to intellectualize fan service, boobs and ass. As the creator says himself, fan service is necessary for humanity.
Hell yes.
A true man of culture. But that's all I had for this.
Yes, it is a true man of culture. It is a true necessity of culture, especially in the anime community. If you are part of the anime community, if you symbolize yourself as the anime community, you know that that as an anime fan, I'm not an anime fan. Right? I watch anime. I grew up watching anime, but not as much as now. I was more into the artists of anime, as more likely to the artists. I was more into the niche sides of the fan made, of more of crossovers. I really didn't watch many animes at the time, but I still watch a good couple of them outside of your typical Pokemon, your typical shonen animes. I started anime with with Yu Yu Hakusho when I was 5 years old, Pokemon when I was 4, and then again Yu-Gi-Oh again when I was 5, when I was 6, then to Digimon, then to Bakugan, then to One Piece, then to Dragon Ball Z, which of course Dragon Ball Z I was very younger at those. Then Bleach. Then then after that when I was really realized, okay, now I'm in, because I know the rest was anime and Naruto, but Death Note was the way that gave me a different look of what anime is going to be. But it turns out that Death Note was the only one that was kind of different from shows like Inuyasha, shows like Basilisk, shows like Code Geass, Dead Man Wonderland is another one that I liked a lot. I liked Dead Man Wonderland. I actually liked Dead Man Wonderland, even though it was a small series. It was small, quick, and short right there. Code Geass was one as well. Those kinds of shows. Then Kill la Kill came by, which is somewhat like a female shonen anime, right? But it was different. It was original. It was outrageous. It was fucking sexy. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, bro. Give me tits and ass. Give me the high thighs. Thighs. Thick thighs. Give me Ryuko. Give me Ryuko. Right? Give me Ryuko Matoyo on that one, bro. Let her break me in bed. Let her break me. Imagine that. Matter of fact, I did fan arts of Ryuko Matoyo breaking me. Not in the sense of breaking me like in Battleship. No, breaking me in the sense of, yes, I draw that. Big, and I posted on Twitter. I never posted on Rule 34 because Twitter X allows it. That kind of stuff. Yeah, I draw it. And so therefore, fan service is necessity, or unless everything dies in anime. Right? And what's the most notable fan services out there? Kill la Kill, but also the shonen anime that you tourists are watching. And especially the fan service that that all of us Americans are so close-minded about that is actually there in live action. Avatar, K-pop Demon Hunters, the t-shirt scene. Then Batman, Batwoman, yeah, Bruce Timm. I could give any name if necessary. Matter of fact, in this name with Monty Sensei about Kill la Kill, I'm gonna draw another. I'm gonna probably draw another R34. Artwork, 2 or 3 more R34 artwork of Ryuko Matoi, just for Twitter and Patreon. And for that, we thank you guys. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you guys like the shows I'm watching my reaction to this with Monty Sensei. Like, subscribe to my channel. I'm Element Reptile. We see each other, and I will officially say this too. Thank you. All right. Thank you.